I guess I wasn't done, but I won't necessarily be reading off direct information. Guys, doing what is right is extremely lonely. Seems like a sad thing to say, but if we look at the word, you know, all the heroes, all the ones that are named by God for doing the right thing, were always standing against the majority, always. Even after all the successes in Acts and after the Spirit had come at Pentecost. If you guys have become familiar at all with Acts and New Testament, maybe you've realized this, but Paul became the greatest because he was willing to fully submit to the Lord. And what that meant was he was willing to call out the nonsense as it came along, and he was probably the loneliest guy of the bunch, by far. In fact, Barnabas, one of his closest companions, eventually even started to stray. Started to become Judaized, as it were. And eventually, Paul had to call out Peter to his face. Peter ended up, I think, being, if not the second greatest, at least the third. You know, him and John, between the two, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. You know, we're definitely going to see. Paul by far is, I want to say the champion, but he is definitely the greatest. And he, even amongst the 12, ended up being alone because he was willing, even in the face of likely death, which, by the way, the reason why the book of Hebrews was not directly ascribed to him initially was because he had to sneak in, essentially. You know, the Pharisees, the Sadducees, and the Essenes, and all those you know, hyper legalist, non-believer Jewish folk at that time, they were very much the ones, I'm certain, that were behind all the Judaizing and sending people in to try and talk the Jerusalem church into falling back into the law, because they hated Christ, you know, and they were being run by Satan. And Paul risked certain death. Not only every single time he was beaten and abused in every city that he went to, but by his own people. He was literally utterly alone. Now, obviously, the payout in the end was great, because after Paul did this, you know, most of you probably don't know this either. Perhaps you do. I hope you do by now. None of the other apostles wrote a single thing. And I mean also James. He wasn't an apostle, but he was the half-brother of Christ running the actual Jerusalem church. None of them wrote until after Paul rebuked Peter and got in their face and wrote Hebrews and essentially leveraged the truth from the Spirit against them in that awesome book. And if it wasn't for him being willing to stand against the crowd, even the crowd of the greatest believers likely of all time, we wouldn't have the church that we do today. So I guess this is my commiseration with you guys. I've lost my family. My father is a very weak Christian, and he only scantily accepts me. He accepts me because he knows I'm not a bad person and I have a wonderful family and life, and he cannot deny that God has blessed me. But my own mother hates me. My sister hates me. All my friends have grown to hate me because I'm that wet blanket Christian guy that always tells the truth no matter what. You know, even my most recent only real friend, who was supposedly Christian, and I hope he still is. If you're watching, Brantley, love you, bro. Yeah, I lost them all. I lost them because I stood in the Word no matter what. My wife and I, we don't choose how many kids we have. We let the Lord decide. That is a massive leap of faith I've come to realize that almost nobody takes anymore. I know there's a few of us out there, but in this Babylonian world we live in, to do that is certain social death. So you guys are not alone. I have paid and continue to pay. My last job was taken from me because I decided to stand on the Word and start doing these videos, and Satan jumped right in and helped them steal massively from me. And it's just the way that it is. You know, the only thing I hope from all of this, and I hope you guys are in the same mind as me, is that this is all to His glory and it's all for His purpose, and it, in whatever way that it is supposed to be, is a positive to the body and helpful to the rest of us. I love you guys. This was just a quickie. I'm on my way home. I figured I'd just tell you that I care. Talk to you soon, guys.